Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream, and welcome on board the new kid on the block. This is Synaptic A220, the 300 series, 300 version of it. Previously known as the Bombardier C series, which obviously has been repurposed now to serve as the smallest member of the Airbus family. I've had my hands on this add-on pretty much since the release date, taking my time to kind of get to know its quirks a little bit, and I've done maybe, I want to say, about 3 flights on it so far, this being the 4th and finally one that I've had time to set up a half decent stream, and I figure it would be a good time to dive into the airplane and maybe we can discuss some of the stuff that makes it interesting and some of the quirks that I've experienced with it so far, and things that are different obviously from the mainline Airbus family and the Boeing families. Well, I can tell you straight from my experience here that the aircraft is a little bit different. So you might know that some of my favorite airplanes, well, probably one of my favorite airplanes in the sim is the MD-11. This operates in a very different principle from the MD-11. Which was a nice mix of Boeing and Airbus. This is just its own thing, and it's got its own quirks. Yeah, I kind of like it. It's always nice to learn something new and see how things are done slightly differently. So it is, for me at least, a fun airplane. I'm still kind of getting to grips with it, so we're just going to hope for the best for the arrival. There are a few bugs with the aircraft, as I know, from I think other people's issues with the landing being one of those where you get flipped into the air. I've seen a couple of videos of it happen. I haven't had it happen to me personally. So I'm just going to talk to some stuff as I go through. This is less of a tutorial, a smaller control flight, and we're going to see what we can do with the A220. As we go through the last portion of our flight and commence our descent shortly to our destination. Speaking of which, I realized that it doesn't show up on the screen where I'm going or what I'm doing, so let me put that up just now for you guys. Excellent. So we're on the Airbus A220 on a flight between Geneva and Athens. Well, actually the other way around, Athens to Geneva. Geneva to Athens is what I'd done earlier today, and obviously it's now this bird's time to shine. Oh, that's I've made some mistakes here. I think I've got too many elements going on my panel there, so a lot of things are just a little bit messy. Let's call it 3 on both sides so you get some information there. We're about to start descent. I haven't set up the arrival yet, so I'll go ahead and do that just now. Before I do, however, I thought you guys might be interested in seeing what I've been up to on the flight today. And I should give you some information on where we are and how it's going. I'm trying a couple new things out here with the stream as well, and hopefully you will like it. Just need to resize that a little bit, and there we go. So that was our flight, or that is our flight, all the way from here, from Athens to Geneva, and we're now in the northern part of Italy. Coming up soon, Aosta, I think, will be the FIR boundary into Geneva. I'm using Navigraph today for everybody's, it's just easy for a lot of people, I think. And I'll show you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it shortly. This is going to be more of a moving map on the side, if you would. Excuse me 1 second, folks. Oops. Not put that either. There we go. Excellent. So let me show you the plan for the flight. This is Navigraph web loading, and I'll show you. That's what we've done. I'm sorry if it's a little bit muddled at the moment. So, Geneva. There's no ATIS, it's variable at 2 knots, cap OK, 24 degrees, and it's 101 full. We're expecting to fly one of these Banco arrivals coming in from over the mountains. And I think in our case today it's best to use the runway that comes in from towards the south. That's going to be runway 22. I think that's the best option for us. So we're going to do Banco all the way down, showing a downwind here at Geneva. Go to Golf 512, finally onto Sabre. From Sabre it's going to be the ILS approach for runway 22. And that's about 20 miles out almost, you know. And we're going to go to the ILS approach. Expecting to land eventually, and we'll exit on Echo. I quite like the parking stance here at Geneva. We're going to exit on Echo, go onto inner taxiway, and then we'll take stand 34 or 44. One of these little diamond-shaped terminal stands is what we're looking for. I think terminal 30 is a good place to go. I'll set that up as well. Mr. Purchase straight ahead until Golf 803, and then come back on a downwind. What's that? I think it's just trying to alert me that we're about to hit the top of the descent, which is great. So you have a general idea of what we're going to do. So I'll show you how I'm going to set up for the arrival. What I'll do is I'll click departure arrival here, and we're interested in the arrivals now. It's the ILS 22 by Sabre, and it was the plan was to do the Banco arrival. Banco 3 Romeo. Done. Let's execute this. We'll head back to route and make sure there's no discos. There are a couple of discos here. Let's delete this. We need to clear up the flight plan. So delete, clear, delete, Banco, clear, delete this, and there's nothing else here. We'll execute this change. And I believe the top of descent point has moved a bit further, as you can see on the first officer's navigation display. It's about 80 miles ahead now. It's a good segue into starting to prepare for the arrival. Key things you need is a frequency, inbound calls and minimums. For now, as you can see, nav1 is set to auto. I'm quite happy with that. Once we're on the base, I want to verify that this there shows the ILS frequency of the arrival into Geneva. Flight message unable, next altitude. Okay, oops, turns out I've forgotten the sequence for the flight. Yeah, we'll come back and figure out why that's happened. I'll take you back onto Navigraph here, and just as we finish discussing the final bits of the arrival. It's a standard 3-degree glide path, isn't it? Yeah, 3 degrees here. Now we're going to use a 2.5% climb gradient. Actually, we can do 4.2, and the MIP is going to be 1565 for today's flight. We're going to round it up to 1570. I'll show you where we need to put that on this aircraft. That comes up here on this little panel. We're going to go to tune menu, EFD nav, barrel, and we'll tune in the data. We set 15. Excuse me, I have to remind myself. It's going to be 1565, 1570. There we go. That's it. That's all you got to do. 1570, and you'll see that there, and that's what we're going to fly. So. There's some interesting stuff here about the Airbus A220 specifically with regards to how it behaves on approach, which I find quite fascinating, particularly in terms of how it tracks the approach. It's not very good at capturing the localizer, from what I've understood. I've not necessarily had any difficulty with it, but I know a lot of people have said that they do. So we're going to hope for the best. I'm just going to clean up some layers here so we're not overly overly troubled by a lot of this. So you'll see just what we're interested in, and that's it, nothing else. Excuse me. I seem to have lost my moving map. There you go, folks. So from now on my streams, I think I've just figured out how to put up a cute little moving map here, so it's going to help you on the approach and at the airport. Now I'll tune the VOR, or the frequency that we'll need. Sorry, not the chart that we'll need as we go along, so you'll be able to follow the flight path. At the moment we're a little bit outside the bounds for the star plate, so do excuse me, let's see if that's the case. Yeah, we're kind of outside the bounds of the star. Once we get back to it, I'll have that up and ready for us. Pull up the ILS plate so you see that as well. When we get there, of course, and some parking stats. So, not required at the moment, we can hide that and you'll be able to follow the progress of the flight. On the in-flight entertainment. So the plan with the ILS, especially here with Airbus 220, you know, like how we get an intercept heading about 30-40 degrees off from the localizer intercept course, or the localizer course, sorry. The Airbus 220 seems to struggle when you hit the approach mode. So some of the easier ways to do it, or the nicer ways to do it, is to essentially extend the final approach course and then use your nav, which is the LNAV function, to actually intercept the localizer first and then arm the approach mode, so you're within one dot of the localizer before you engage it. So from what I've been seeing, this actually is a not a defect, this is a known behavior of the Airbus 220. And this is one that they've essentially modeled, and we're gonna try and use to our benefit. Ooh, I forgot to do this. You see, forgot to do my checklists, and also the high altitude climb checklist, anti-ice wing off. So, well, that's a cool one. I'll tell you why that is. We have the anti-ice off because the anti-ice requires a large bleed load from the aircraft, and especially over 350, you've essentially been asked to turn that off. Reason, again, for the bleed load, and if you were to use a lot of that bleed, bring up the synaptic display there for the air conditioning system. As you can see, the air that comes out the bleed also supplies the wing anti-ice and the cowl anti-ice functions, which then at high altitude, because the air density is also quite thin, essentially reduces the airflow available to the packs, which is what we use, of course, for pressurizing the aircraft and making sure everybody on board can breathe. So that's done, and we're just now waiting for the descent and approach checklist. And I'll do that as we get a bit lower. I think we can finish parts of it if you like. FMS is set, the minima are set, the outer brakes as required. I think we'll put them on low. The ECAS is checked, and the arrival briefing, I think it's fairly well completed. So we'll come back to that chart just now. We'll come back to the rest of that just now. So a few things I like to have here for the arrival: ETA, speed, and alt. That's fine. And I was actually looking, I was hoping to actually have some of the restrictions up here as well. Maybe on this one. ETA, speed, and alt. Yep, so the restrictions pop up after all. Another reason why it took a bit of time to actually bring this onto the stream was I was struggling with the terrain map itself. I really couldn't figure out how to get it to work, and I saw some of the people here had HUDs on their Airbus 220s, I don't know if I'm imagining or if they actually did exist, but I'm gonna go try find it because I wouldn't mind having a hut. Honestly, I don't know if I'm imagining that or not, so we'll see. Audio settings, noise cancellation, no. Yeah, no, so I've definitely imagined that. No huts. I don't know why I imagined that. Seems like a fun thing to imagine. Yeah, so now, I mean, if you guys are interested, now is actually a pretty decent time to talk about the A220. Super. We'll start that descent shortly. While the descent which we're about to do, the Banco 3 November arrival. First altitude will be a Golf 520, flight level 180 or above. I'll go ahead and set flight level 180 on the, oh my gosh. Maybe I should have plotted out the... Definitely should have sorted out some of the chase plane views before I brought it onto stream. They were working yesterday, and I think today not so much. So flight level 180 is set. She's got the VNAV path, of course, and now she's on her way down. Something I found interesting also was the fact that the airplane couldn't didn't really work on cost index. It had some specified speeds that you could fly, so we're flying the speeds that were prescribed to us. Mach 0.78 and 275 knots. Yeah, she's running away from me a little bit, so we'll assist with some speed brakes. Alright, let's get some music on. Enjoy your arrival, ladies and gents. Thanks for coming on board. I've turned the anti-ice back on now. The descent and approach checklist complete. So something else that I found kind of interesting about the Airbus 220 from what I've been reading, apparently the aircraft doesn't take into account the need for deceleration. So that's on you and your math to take care of it. There were some other interesting things about VNAV and how it works in the airplane. It's there, but it still requires quite a lot of pilot monitoring. So essentially, you see here, it's VNAV path. And it just follows a pink line. And if I was to go on something like flight level change, for example, it'll go on a VNAV flight level change, in which case it'll let you do flight level change up to a point where it then wants to respect altitudes. Alright, from here I can see on the VSD we're going to be passing above 180. The VNAV's going to take care of it. Next going to be 14,000 fall. We'll go ahead and set that up now. I'll be at 14,000. So in Geneva I can see there's two arrivals inbound. There's us, there's an ITER that's on the base at the moment, and there's someone now departing from Ibiza. So they're not going to be in our way. So we should have that airport also ourselves. Which is actually kind of realistic because it's pretty late in Switzerland. And like the rest of Europe, they're quite sensitive to noise. I absolutely love how the moonlight looks on these peaks here. And these little towns. I wonder if they're as brightly lit IRL. I've never had the pleasure of flying this part of the Alps. Hopefully one day, maybe. TBD, let's see. Alright, after after this altitude 14, we're allowed to go down to 1/1000 at Suvo. So 1/1000 is set. I'm just gonna go take a quick look at what the transition level ought to be. It's by ATC. So I'm just going to see what the transition altitude is. Transition altitude 7,000. So I'm going to guess that the transition level is something like 8,000 feet. We need to go ahead and set that up here on the performance page, arrivals. Transition level will be on the descent page, sorry. We'll go and set 8,000. Execute that. To me this is fast enough here. I'm going to reduce the speed to 250 knots. And we're going to make her obey, essentially. Speed brakes coming out. From this point on, we can go all the way down to 7,000 feet, which will be our platform altitude. Speed brakes are stalled. Let's get some lights on. Leveling off at Suva. I'll bring the speed down to 240 knots. And now we're good to 7,000 feet. 7,000 set. And V flight level change. You can see here it says there's no descent path available. It's also quite different from the Airbuses and Boeings because they would essentially draw the curved paths for you. This hasn't, so this is just point to point. And the curves are according to the airplane, so it seems very general aviation to me. Which also kind of makes sense given, well, when you track the Bombardier's history. So I wanted to keep an eye on the nav. Of course here it's gone to 108.7. Actually it's gone to 108.7 active on both sides. I'm just going to go ahead and verify here on my charts that that's in fact the actual ILS frequency that we're looking for. It is 108.7, should be an Identify India Sierra Whiskey. Well, you can see here Golf 811 is close, so we'll see if we can maybe give ourselves a shortcut. Yeah, Golf 811 is about 11 miles out. It's a nice place to give ourselves a shortcut too. I'm gonna slow it all the way to F1 speed, which I'm not sure if it's the flap limit speed or the minimum maneuver speed. I think the minimum maneuver speed should be green dot, right? So I'll take it all the way down there and see how the airplane behaves at green dot. Looks more like 203 knots to me. We're not going to turn in yet because I see there's traffic there to the northwest. Well, actually just to the north, 1,000 feet below. So we'll assess what that traffic is doing, and then make a plan accordingly. Let's see if I can spot him or her on VATSIM map. Oh my gosh, that's Speedbird 576. They've just popped up. So best that we go behind them then. There's no need to then to descend so quickly. We can go on to vertical speed here at 5 feet per minute. And you'll notice it says VNAV vertical speed, VVS at 5 feet per minute. Nice and gentle. 202 knots looks like green dot speed. Geneva traffic, Swiss 1821. Number 2 for the ILS approach, runway 22 at Geneva. We're joining the ILS via Sabre behind Speedbird 756, Swiss 1821 for Geneva traffic.
1821, I am so glad to finally hear someone talk on Unicom.
I didn't think you were gonna talk, but sent out a feeler there. Happy landing. Alright, let's turn in. I think that's far away enough. Heading. And we'll turn onto base behind this gentleman here. Well, he's not wrong, you know. I mean, there's not a lot of talking going on in Unicom these days. And there's a lot of people just doing their own thing, which, you know, is fine. I mean, I had to call a supervisor on one guy the one time where they were just, you know, cutting in. I think it was Heathrow or somewhere. But they made a point to say that there's no actual need to talk on Unicom. It's just that they need to monitor. And what they do with the monitoring is up to them. And for the most part, the monitoring was quite shit. So that's where we were. I'll switch you guys now onto the ILS basis. We are on the approach bit here. So what I need to do is extend the final. We're going to extend it from Golf 811, and the inbound course is 223. I'll just track myself to a Sabre a little bit better. And let's go in here and extend the final from Golf something 811. We need a course to intercept, and that was, sorry, 223. Yeah, we can execute that. We'll give ourselves a nice intercept, 223. The intercept course should be about 250.
Geneva traffic, Speedbird 756, long final.
Oh, I think I've gone through localizer. Okay, my bad. So I'm going to bring her all the way around. So it's going to be 19 something. After Sabre, I can go actually all the way down to 4,000 feet slowly on the glide. So I shall 4,000 set. And I'll follow the glide on vertical speed initially. Something like ground speed is 223, 1,100 foot per minute is good. And I'm gonna reselect nav so that we get on the localizer first. Flaps 1 next.
Geneva traffic, Speedbird 756, show final, established on the localizer, runway 22.
Nice, we're on the localizer, and now it's a happy time to go ahead and select approach mode. What you saw there was pilot error and not really the aircraft itself, so don't judge the airplane based on what I had done. Geneva traffic, Swiss 1821 on the ILS runway 22, 14 miles for using 180 knots. Swiss 1821 for Geneva traffic. Alright, we're gonna catch up with this traffic. They're about 6 miles ahead. And I'm not, this is a good time to see if that's a limit speed or a minimum selectable speed. Let's go ahead and set flaps 2 and see how it behaves. Alright, so not a minimum speed. I'm not really sure what that speed is then. We'll do 180 to 10, 160 to 4. In the meantime, let's go and see if there's any checklist to be done. There's the before landing checklist. Altimeters, they're on standard. Oh my god, why didn't it blink? QNH is 1014. 1014. 1014. 1014. Altimeter is set. Flaps. Okay, so that's actual checklist, so we'll wait for that. Okay, we're at 10 miles. Reducing to 160 knots now. Selecting flaps 3. Oh, there's the minimum maximum speeds there. Flaps 3 maximum is 210. We are below that, so flaps 3. And the gear can go down at this point. Another fun fact about the 220, doesn't need these speed brakes armed. Kinda does it itself, which is really cool. And we'll select our final landing flaps, flaps 4. We'll take this all the way to 5 miles. And we'll finish off that checklist.
2500.
4, flaps 4 indicating cabin's ready. The checklist is complete. All we need to do now is set the Mr. Approach altitude. I don't know why the approach localizer is now blinking again. Mr. Approach altitude from the ILS will be 7,000 feet. 7,007. Here is 5 miles. We can bring her all the way down to the approach speed, which was going to be 135 knots. Approach speed 135 knots set. We'll get all the lights on. Geneva traffic, Swiss 1821 is on a 4-mile final, runway 22, Geneva. Alright, I don't know if that speedbird's landed or not, but it's going to be maybe a late landing clearance, so we're going to take it from here. Not that there is a landing clearance to be had anyway, so get myself comfortable and autopilot. I really don't like the autopilot disconnect sound. And
auto throttle. Auto throttle. 1000.
obviously this plane can also be flown with the auto thrust on. I just kind of prefer flying a little bit. It feels nice. It's obviously a little bit of a mix between the Airbus and Boeing philosophy, so it flies for a trim reference speed like on a 777, just using a side stick.
Speedbird 756, Geneva traffic, runway 22, vacated.
Geneva traffic, Swiss 1821, landing runway 22. And what it does then is
300.
Pardon me, excuse me. But you can also see the trim reference speed in this case. So there's a little blue line just above the selected speed, and that essentially tells you what speed it's trimmed for.
200.
But the flight path vector on the flight vector also gives you an indication to flight path, and also has like an energy queue. So it's very similar to the HGS on 737s.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
So the rudder is very sensitive on this airplane on the ground. I think it's something that they're still working on, still fixing. So with heavy crosswinds, I kind of just land with the crab and then hope for the best. So I'm still leaving it on full reverse, but below 55 ground speed, she automatically goes to idle reverse. And we're just gonna follow up on that. stow the reverses. Geneva traffic, Swiss 1821 on Delta short of outer. Alright. Nice. Geneva, Swiss 1821 clear of runway 22. Geneva. Okay, let's carry on to the gate now. Oh no, I forgot to do the landing. I forgot to record it. Okay, well, hopefully you guys have got the landing rate for me. Ugh, I guess I just expected the landing to be shit, so I didn't record. We're gonna go somewhere down there on the south apron. Oh, how unfortunate. I think I got a bit distracted by the other traffic. Shame. I'll set this to auto. I really like these terminal stands here, so we're going to join inner and then we'll go to one of the other parking positions that are available here in Geneva. So I'm looking for parking position 34. That's where I started the initial outbound towards Athens, and I think it's a good place to go park as well. I'm not entirely 100% sure how to get to stand 34, I just know it's sort of from in here. So I'm just going to take another quick look at the plates. Yeah, so I need to join this taxiway and the gate is sort of a cross gate up there. I'm going to start the APU. Taxi lights off. This is gate 34. With a marshaller. I'll plan a single engine taxi in then. Okay, that was weird. Parking brake set. She's leaving, so I'm assuming everything's great. The APU is on, and the second engine can then go off. Nice. There's a couple checklists I missed doing. So that we didn't do the after landing, which is flap 0, which it kind of did on memory. The shutdown. Nose wheel steering is to go off. Okay. APU power is on. Slides disarmed. We've got to check that the slides are disarmed. Okay. How do we do that? They are still armed. How do I disarm them? I don't know how to disarm them. Okay. Fine. They're still armed. Flight control test required. No. I don't see why. We can complete that. And we'll do next a partial power off. When everybody is obviously off the aircraft. Sorry about the lack of a replay. I was really hoping to have seen one. It's just butterbrain just a morning, and I seem to have forgotten to sort that out for us. Nevertheless, hope that was enjoyable. Hope you saw something interesting today with the Airbus 220. Let's see how many people have viewed this. For the most part, I've been talking to myself, which is fantastic. But I guess that's where we start, right? A220s, well, behaved really well today. Oh, there we go. Door slides disarmed and the door's open. A220 behaved really well today. I'm quite happy with the performance on this flight out. Obviously needs a little bit of attention. A slight bit of pilot error was obviously to blame as well. But all things considered, pretty good flight on the Airbus 220. These doors haven't been opened with GSX, so I'm going to go ahead and open them myself. Forward cargo. Aft cargo. I'm not sure why this door is open. That doesn't need to be yet. And let's go back. Excellent. So the Airbus 220 being deboarded here at Geneva was pretty fun. We'll get some ground power on shortly because, you know, obviously Europe, they're not going to enjoy the noise. We'll attach some chocks. Let's head back outside and where do I attach a GPU? And we're going to bring the GPU on bus. So they're going to be the one power the aircraft. GPU in use. Oh, you see, it took it automatically. As soon as the GPU is connected, it's like, yep, I'm going to use that instead. In that case, we don't actually need the APU anymore. So that can go off. And what else can go off? It's amazing how easy it is. So parking brake can go off because the chocks are on. And things are going well. The exit. Half decent parking, if I do say so myself, even though she went crazy towards the end. Just started waving. Well, thanks for joining me on the stream. I hope you enjoyed the Airbus 220 and what was a fun arrival also into Geneva. Nice to have at least somebody talking to us, of course, on VATSIM, especially this time of the night or day or morning, wherever you are. For the purpose of VATSIM, this is a late arrival in Geneva at about, I'm going to say it's 1 a.m. their time, so we really shouldn't have gone full reverse, but maybe that was a mistake with me having selected just low auto brakes. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks, or your night, if that's if it is where you are at. Maybe we'll see each other on another stream. It's definitely going to be a couple of days because I'll be out of town. Thanks for joining me. Wish you all a nice rest of your day. Ciao, ciao.